Like black people do experience oppression a lot, like on a day to day. So I mean, I feel like it's easy to link the two to a race. Not saying that it's right, but it is true. Like being that like America was founded really not to help black people. People experience oppression in all different ways. People experience oppression in the healthcare system. People experience oppression in classes and jobs, things like that. So regardless of how you want to experience it, oppression is everywhere, no matter where you go, because America was not set up for black people to thrive.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. We're going to be looking yet again at the professor talking. I mean, his videos really interest me, and that's why I like sharing some of his things. And, you know, in today's society, now they are talking about oppression. And this is, yet again, college students. You can see, I mean, how many people study in this class, right? There'll be hundreds of kids. This is just one, I think, a third of the class, as you can see, this back area kind of there. So, I mean, there'll be hundreds of students in this class. And then there's also hundreds of thousands of viewers, if not millions of viewers online with this content that he creates. So yet again, the page is called SOC119. I'll put a link of the video in the description, as someone asked in the comments on the last one. So there you go. Hopefully it keeps you happy. But anyway, it's SOC119, sociology, studying, talking about oppression. Now, before we get into the videos that you do like, please leave a like. It helps a lot with YouTube. Comment as well. Let me know what you think about everything that they talk about. What's your definition of oppression? Think of it before the video and then let me know what you think about it afterwards, after they talk about it. And then also, please subscribe. Most of my viewers are not subscribed, so if I have earned it, then please hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into it.
So this word oppression is it's really strong. You just imagine we're looking at them, and as black people in the U.S., and the word that comes to mind, that just comes off the tongue of people, is oppressed, okay? And that's because this is the word that's out there so much, right? This is the conversation that we've started, that God started, and the word just goes around. It's like, and it just rolls off people's tongue. And so when Eric said that the other day, I am sure that very few people in this class went, whoa, oppressed. That's a heavy word.
It's a fact that, you know, a lot of like black people in America are, unfortunately, they can be oppressed and bad things can happen to them just because they're black, right?
Because in the U.S., increasingly, it's black people and oppression. You just put them together. Like, there we are. Not all black people, not all anybody else. The point is, and people aren't even really saying literally that you are oppressed. It's just we take that word and we put them together. And I'm like, and I think, whoa, man. My first thought, just open, what do you think about that?
It's common, but I feel like it's common because it's true to an extent. Like black people do experience oppression a lot, like on a day to day. So I mean, I feel like it's easy to link the two to a race. Not saying that it's right, but it is true. Like being that like America was founded really not to help black people. People experience oppression in all different ways. People experience oppression in the healthcare system. People experience oppression in classes and jobs, things like that. So regardless of how you want to experience it, oppression is everywhere, no matter where you go, because America was not set up for black people to thrive.
Okay. What's oppression mean to you? Like, because to me, it's a really strong word. Like, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, because like I'm not really like big on the textbook definition, but just by experience and just having experience with classes, like oppression is just, I feel like, facing different obstacles and adversities, you know, that, hinder you from kind of like thriving and being like the best person of yourself, I guess you could say. So, like I said, like oppression could be in the healthcare system where like, you don't have access to healthcare, so you're oppressed in that way. Or, like the topic of last class where you can't get a job because you wear your hair in an afro. Like that's a form of oppression. Like, you know what I'm saying? So oppression, I feel like to me, just facing adversity or obstacles, no matter like where you go or like how you try to set up things.
Okay, so she says oppression is when you wear your hair in an afro and you can't get a job. No, if that company is privately owned, they can choose their dress code. So if you got a big afro and let's say you're working with food in the kitchen or whatever, they probably wouldn't want to hire you. Yet again, is it stopping you from maybe cutting your hair? I mean, before I used to go for job interviews, no matter what age I am, I always go get a haircut, try and look a bit more business-like, presentable, etc. Even if you already have a job, I'm applying for a new one, I would go and do my hair, look as nice as possible, business-like as you can, because that is what draws businesses into hiring people. So if you want to have, a certain hairstyle, that's fine. But if they don't want to hire you because of that, that's also fine. I mean, it's their business. They should be able to choose who they hire and who they don't. If it's discrimination because of, let's say, for example, your race or the skin color, that is different. Now that's wrong just because of your race or whatever. But if it's something to do with a feature, I mean, like if you have a face tattoo, you got a tattoo all over your face, people are more than likely not going to hire you because they don't have to. If that's that, you might do more hindrance to the business with face tattoos, etc. So these are things that you can change. So the business, in my opinion, should be able to decide, I'm not going to hire that person because I don't want that hair. Yet again, they can come to you and say, hey, if you get a haircut and cut that shorter, I would love to hire you. But if they then say, no, I'm being oppressed because of my hair, to me, that is wrong.
I think in that sense, it's kind of a similar thing. They're being turned away from opportunities based on their skin color or based on a feature that they can't control and wouldn't necessarily control.
Okay, when you say turned away, what do you mean?
Like not given the opportunity. Say two people are equally qualified for a job, one's black, one's white. I think statistically it's shown that if the person with a black name will not be chosen over the person with a white name.
Okay, so here, let me help with that. Restate that so that it's true. Because that would mean like Brooklyn here. Well, that's not a black name, actually, so give me a black name. Darnisha. I know a white woman named Darnisha, but I know a lot of black women named Darnisha, okay? Shantoya, right? I don't think I know any white women named Shantoya. Okay, is that good? Is that a good one? Okay, Shantoya and Megan. Like that would mean what you said would mean, and I want you to change it because this is cool. That would mean that Shantoya would never ever get a job. Because okay, so now just say what you said, which is true. What you said is true. The research has shown, but say it differently.
So in that situation, our names compared, they would likely choose the whiter sounding name over a different race.
More likely. Okay, the research shows. Hey, listen, not only there was one study that showed that 50% more often you would get you with Megan and, a white sounding name, right? But I know a few black women named Megan, so let's not say, right? But anyway, I know a whole lot more white women named Megan. 50% of the time sometimes, but more likely to be chosen, right? Okay, and that's really important because, and we're going to come back there, it's really important that we learn how to say the things that are true, because when we miss them, then we miss the opportunity to really see it. So, okay, so that's cool. I love what you said. When you oppress someone, what are you doing?
You, I guess, kind of like what she said, you're not giving them an equal opportunity to accomplish something that a white person could.
Or to participate in something or something, right? Yeah, okay, listen. So here's the thing, right? And this is one of those really hard-hitting words. So we've altered this conversation about race in the United States as a result of, after the murder of George Floyd, okay? Not the death of George Floyd, right? So we've altered the conversation about race, and what we've kind of moved out into the conversation are words that we just throw around randomly, like oppression. But what I heard from you is, yeah, you use this, but you don't mean it. Look, for many people, oppression is really harming people. You are oppressing them. You are standing on their neck, and in that kind of way. In the United States, workers historically have been oppressed, right? And, you know, but that's not what you mean. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, I mean, people can be oppressed. Like, white people can be oppressed too. Like, my grandfather, he was white, and he was kind of like singled out for marrying a black woman during the time that it happened. So, like, people can experience oppression in different forms. But I feel like when they say black people are oppressed, because black people are oppressed in various aspects of life. It's not just one walk of life or, you know, things like that. Like, it's various aspects. Like, you can't say a white person is going to experience oppression or any form of racism in the healthcare field, socioeconomic field. Like, you know, all these different aspects of life. Like, there's always going to be some part of life within the black. When they're born, you're going to face these struggles no matter where you go.
So Brooklyn just put together race, and she put together socioeconomic class, okay? So by the standards, like if we step outside of the race matrix just per se, and if you're wealthy and black or poor and white, which one do you think is going to be oppressed by the healthcare? More likely, see, I did what you did. Did you hear that? Like, that's cool. So, like, always watch for that. Which one do you think is more likely to probably be oppressed by the healthcare system? The wealthy black person or the poor white person? Bro.
I mean, if you put it that way, I mean, probably the poor person that's like in poverty in comparison to someone who has millions of, the way you're saying it, right? Like an extremely wealthy person,
Yeah.
black person, like I would definitely
It doesn't have to be extremely wealthy. It could just be like upper middle class. A lot of people are using this word oppression differently than other people are interpreting it. Because a lot of people interpret oppression as
Just want to say something that, obviously the poor people are going to be more oppressed when it comes to medically, because in America you don't have universal healthcare. So obviously the people who can't pay for healthcare are the ones who will be oppressed because they can't pay for it. So obviously whoever's richer will obviously get the better healthcare and health treatment.
It's like, look, man, hey, Brooklyn, what do you mean you're oppressed? I don't see anyone with their boot on your neck. That's what oppression is.
With the healthcare, I mean, in New Zealand, in Australia, we have universal healthcare. Australia is still pretty big on the private as well, but it's not as common because everything else is free in the public sector. But in New Zealand, obviously most people are public, majority, should I say. And what they actually passed in the law in New Zealand is people of color. So if you're Pacific Islander or if you're Maori, the native people from New Zealand, if you're any of those races, you actually get put at the front of the line. So if there are 5 white people, I'm not joking, this is real. If there are 5 white people or, 3 Asian people in front of you in the line and you are Pacific Islander, they actually push you to the front of the line. This has been passed. Now that the new government's come in, I'm not sure if they're going to try and pull that back because they're not as woke, so they don't look at policies as in color. But that baffled me, right? Because I lived in New Zealand and that was never a thing until I think it was last year. And they actually passed that a race, just because they're a different race, they get pushed to the front of the line. They are waiting for that life-saving surgery. They've been waiting for 3 or 4 months. Then a person who gets pushed to the front of the line has only been, just got put on the list, and they get pushed in front of your grandma. And then, obviously that means that she may die. Now everyone's getting pushed back. So you got to wait longer and longer because there's big waiting times, especially when it comes to the public sector. The private obviously is faster. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys about that, which is just wild that is an actual thing in a first world country in this day and age, especially New Zealand, where they're all about, equality and blah, blah, blah. It's not. They got super woke. And obviously, me living there for many years, I've seen how different it was.
So it's like, what are you talking about? And you're like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, we're kind of, in a way, redefining the term here. And this is really important because what happens is, and I say this because this has great value, because there are a lot of people who watch videos from this class who have a very conservative orientation. And they can't hear certain things like that unless it's laid out to them. Say, no, we don't mean oppression in that way. We mean it more in this other way. Oh, okay, I got you. Then I can go with it. But anyway, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I feel like back to the whole healthcare thing, it gets a little bit tricky, I feel like, if we're using that example too, because like oppression doesn't always have to just be like in terms of affording healthcare. Like Black women are oppressed in the healthcare system as well, with the whole idea that like, oh, they're stronger enough to like have babies without medication. That's a form of
All
oppression
sorts
as
of
well.
things. Yeah,
so
all
yeah, I feel like
sorts
it's
of
a lot
things.
that goes into like, you know, trying to talk
Yeah.
about oppression in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Because like you could be wealthy and Black and still be oppressed because you're a Black woman.
Oh,
that's
listen.
wealthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, totally. No, listen, look, the data on healthcare, I did a whole, last semester, I think it was, I don't remember, but we did a whole class on just healthcare on these kinds of questions. What happens in the exchange between doctor and patient? This comes from a conversation I had just 2 weeks ago. I was at the hospital getting some blood drawn, and I asked the phlebotomist, I said, hey, she found the vein. It's pretty easy. You can see for me. I said, hey, by the way, what they teach you in school about taking blood from really darkly pigmented people? And she said, and whoa, man, the amount of discrimination that dark-skinned people, including you, dark-skinned people experience that's subtle and not seen unless you do very carefully circumscribed studies, you know.
So interesting to see what, you know, college students think of oppression. We didn't hear it too much from all the sides, but it's interesting to me that she still thinks that a very rich, you know, Black lady would be more oppressed than a poor white person in the healthcare. I mean, first of all, if you're super rich and you got a really good healthcare, then you will be taken care of better. It is just a known fact. Unfortunately, America is the king of capitalism and money talks. Here's the definition for you if you don't know it, of oppression. So prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or exercise of authority. The state of being subject to oppressive treatment, a response to collective poverty and oppression. So you make your mind up on everything there. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the video. I mean, do you agree with their definition of what oppression is? I mean, everyone can kind of make their own definition up in their mind, but at the same time, words do have a meaning. We can't always just change it how we feel and see it fit. But like the video if you liked it, comment below, let me know what you think. And also, do you agree with this definition of oppression, or have you ever had oppression in your life? Let me know below, and please subscribe if you do want to support the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.